Dear Traveler, I've heard writers describe the terror of the blank page. It is imposing. It demands to be filled with something, and that something should, so the terrors say, be perfect. I have always loved the blank page. I've loved filling it over and over again, taking its endless potential as an invitation to explore all the variations of my story. There is something wondrous to me about watching a story branch off again and again. The blank page for me is an opportunity to mosey down many different paths, to indulge in curiosity for curiosity's sake. I'll take 100 steps in any direction just to figure out what's around the corner. I'll double back to check if my story's themes split into fronds, or plant seeds of characters and watch them unfurl into an array of blooms. I'll sit at the crossroads and watch the landscape of my story change. Each path has its own diversions, and sitting at the crossroads, I can marvel at how a small change can make a new story. Of course, if I'm honest with myself, there are times when I'm afraid of the blank page too. It is never at the beginning of a story. Instead, the trouble comes the longer I sit at the crossroads. I look out over all of the pages I've filled, and I no longer see one story. I have islands of beginnings and middles and ends, each surrounded by blank pages. This is the first time I have to force myself to write. This is the first time I hate the blank page. At first, quieting my newfound terror is easy. I fill myself with determination, pick a path, and write. It's not until I'm deep into the woods that I start to doubt. I've heard other artists call this the dark forest. They say this is the most difficult part for them. I've recently learned it is not so for me. Oh, I might panic at first. I might worry that I have hit a dead end, but here's the truth about me. I love the forest in the way I love the blank page. I love to sit in the deep, dark woods and imagine what could be out there. I love to listen to the trees whisper to each other. The trouble comes when I hear them whisper of other paths, the ones I chose not to take in the beginning. It is not long after that I find myself returning to the crossroads, back to the very first blank page. There I start and restart again and again. And each time I find myself once again in the dark forest, listening to the whispers of other paths. After a while, I wonder why I keep stopping. I wonder if it is simply a sign that I am not meant to finish this story. It is tempting to quit then, sitting in the dark, contemplating if I'll ever make it out, if I'll find a way to connect all of the scattered pieces of writing together, if I can fill the blank spaces between them. I usually quit at this point. I never finish my draft. I abandon my story in the woods. with my most recent story, whether out of stubbornness or something else, I've continued sitting in the woods. And I've sat long enough now that I've discovered something. I've always thought that writing was a journey, a quest even. To get the thing you want, you must start in one place and end up in another. You must not get bogged down by little side quests or distractions. But I've recently realized that I've not been on a quest. I have not been journeying from one end of my story to another. I have been foraging. I have been gathering everything I needed to build a home for my story, a place it can live in my mind for as long as I need it. I look back at my abandoned projects, the half and partial drafts scattered across my hard drive, and I understand now that I had already started building the home. The pieces of the story that I needed were always next to me. I was never missing anything from the other paths I walked down. I took parts of each path with me. In the last months, I have been sitting in the woods, adding one piece and then another, turning the pieces of my story in my hand and trying to understand how to build something with them, waiting for something alive to come in. And sometimes whatever ineffable quality makes a story feel like something more than words on a page comes in and sits with me for a while, and I'm happy. Mostly, though, I'm lonely and trying to build a shape of something that will invite life. And now for me, this is when the writing is the hardest. I worry the soil I've chosen is not rich enough and the story will starve. I worry the foundation is too weak or the structure too fragile. I imagine it falling and crushing whatever I've managed to nurture inside. I'm afraid of ruining my story. I'm afraid that what I built cannot match what I imagined, that I cannot take all the lovely pieces I forged and bring them together. I'm afraid nothing will stay in the home that I've built. I'm often told there is no right way to write a story, that every writer has their own process, and that process may change from book to book. I've only recently realized that it may change within a single book, too. Last year, while walking through the woods, I happened upon the ruins of an old church. I think about it often. I wonder about the people who built it. I wonder about the life the ruin has invited into it now. I'm sure you visited a ruin and had similar thoughts. Ruins demand you ask questions about them. They invite you to sit and think for a while, to look at the unexpected life that grew out of them. Sit with them long enough, and they might reveal the secrets of their builders, or the lives of the creatures that have passed through them. I've always struggled with unfinished thoughts when I am creating. It has been difficult for me to love what I am creating more than I love its potential. I am trying to embrace the knowledge now that I will never build a perfect home. I will always wonder if I should be building on another path. I will always be holding my breath, wondering if my structure will tumble down. But there is something to love in that uncertainty too. Something wonderful about discovering the unexpected by straying from the path. It is, as Mary Oliver said, it doesn't have to be the blue iris. It could be weeds in a vacant lot, or a few small stones. Just pay attention, then patch a few words together. And don't try to make them elaborate. This isn't a contest, but the doorway.